growing up? What
Yeah.
was life like for you, family, all of those things?
Yeah.
Because I always find usually there's either something that happened, growing up or
Yeah.
in a different career early on that really has a great impact
Okay.
in how they do business and the
It's
success
true.
that they have.
Very
So,
true. So we lived rural. My dad was a farm boy, family farm in Dayton. So he didn't want to live in the city and he didn't want to live in the suburbs. So we always lived on 5 acres. I was taught work ethic. My mother said, if you learn nothing else, you'll learn work ethic. So, and my dad was an appraiser for the bank back in the 70s. So I always heard about appraisals and this and that. Back in the 70s, I'm pretty sure they appraised houses before people would sell them. So my dad would buy houses and we would move all the time. And I really hated it, I got to tell you. But here I am. Um,
so, so I gotta stop you real quick.
yeah,
So it was more common to actually have the appraisal done before ever listing.
yes, yes,
Wow. Okay.
yeah.
All right.
At least that's my understanding. So he worked for the bank and he
Cool.
did appraisals. Um, so yeah, and my grandfather was an architect, so my grandpa always took me to job sites and that sort of thing. And I didn't like that either, but here I am. Yeah. So my parents would buy houses and they would paint them and carpet, and we would actually live in them. This was for them to live. They weren't really flipping, but we would stay 3 to 5 years and then they would turn around and sell and make a nice profit. You always hear this as a kid. So um, I hated moving. I really hated moving.
Yeah. No, I understand. I
Change
mean,
schools because they found a great deal on a house or something like that. Um,
how
but
many schools?
I had a great family. I had a great foundation. So,
How many schools did you go to?
oh, probably 4 or 5.
It's interesting. I had an agent on last year from the Akron, Kent
Right.
area,
Uh-huh.
and I think he had moved to, I think, 5 or 6 different schools growing up, and I went to 3 different schools. Same type of thing. Like my parents always bought older homes, not necessarily to flip, but to work on, right? Sweat equity, all of those
Yes.
things, and we would
Yeah.
move around from time to time, and I found now it's a little bit
Mhm.
easier for me to go and connect with people than
It
because
is.
I was always the new kid, right?
I
Or the
was.
newer
I
kid.
was. Yeah. And I had such a shy side. So that was so tough on me. But
Yeah.
you learn
I'm
and you
sure
make
it's
things.
I, I-
So
I'm sure it's definitely helped in your career for
it
sure.
has. I'm sure it
So
has. You're right.
so growing up, was it like I'm never like you weren't interested in real estate at all?
No, I wasn't interested in real estate. I've always been interested in interior design. Um, and I always thought I would be an attorney.
Okay. So what was the next steps for you after high school? Did you go to college? You jump into the
I
career
actually,
field or
I graduated beginning of June, and by the end of June, I was in school to be a travel agent. So I was going to a travel academy so I could become a travel agent. My mom thought it would be great, and I could travel the world. So I got on board somehow. And I was a travel agent from the age 18 for, oh my God, probably 12 years, 15 years. I still keep my license just in case I need it. And I traveled a lot. And I didn't know when I was becoming a travel agent that I was going into sales. Little did I know. And I was selling vacations.
what I'm curious because that's one of the reasons why I personally like I always tell people I like real estate.
Yeah,
I love real estate from the sense of the investment standpoint.
right.
Um, I, I love helping agents find success in this business, but the reason why I still do the business, even though I did not love selling houses,
Right.
was because of the opportunity that it gave me with my lifestyle of being able to go and travel and have experience. So,
Absolutely. I agree.
what I'm going to put you on the spot. What's your favorite place that you visited?
I go to Jamaica a lot. I really like it. It's a very calm, chill vibe. The water's so calm. We were there last week and we just floated all day long. Not a care in the world.
Do you have a place on the bucket list that you haven't been to yet?
I mean, I would love to go to Fiji, Tahiti, those places. I'm not sure you're going to get me on a plane for that long, to be honest. I love
I'm always,
Hawaii, but I've done that a few times and I think I'm finished. I'm like, okay, enough. I've done it. Too long of a flight. I'm over it. So,
yeah, yeah. So you did that for, you said 12 to 18 years or so.
yeah, I mean, I got in when I was 18. I was really, really young. I had no idea what I was doing or getting myself into. And it really did turn out to be a great career. Um, you traveled a lot, and honestly, that was your benefit because you didn't make a lot of money. And quite honestly, I decided to get a divorce and I needed to make more money. So I had
Yeah.
to figure out how I was going to survive. And I chose real estate and I got in 05 and the market crashed in 08. So
So
we survived.
it's interesting because, you know, obviously you had some of that experience out, not as a real estate agent, like
Right,
in your household, right? But you had some of the experience of being in the industry,
right.
different capacities, and seeing it happen. Was it that you leaned into as far as why real estate was going to be the next move?
I honestly think it was probably my love of interior design and the thought that I could have a flexible schedule.
So you get in for those things, and you said
Mhm.
2005 is when you got licensed.
Yeah.
I'm always curious, and I'm assuming as a travel agent, you were probably commission based. Is that correct? Or
We actually had a base salary and then we got bonuses.
okay,
I was always the top salesperson, so I don't know. Sales has always just worked for me.
yes. Well, I'm curious because a lot of people, real estate, it's not their first career choice, right? Usually it's
Right.
second, third, fourth,
That is
fifth,
very true. Yeah.
and and you're literally giving up a lot of people. For a lot of us, it was
Hmm.
a steady pay, right, and then going to 100% commission.
Yeah.
When you made that switch, what was that thought process like? Because there's a lot of agents that are scared to make that transition, right? A lot of people, that's what holds them back, is the lack of sense of security. For
Yeah.
you, what helped you make that decision? And then did you have doubters or supporters when you said, hey, I'm going to go get my real estate license?
I didn't have any doubters. I think I was laying in the pool one afternoon in August, and my cousin was at my house, and she had talked about buying a house in Dayton, Ohio. And I said, I think I want to go into real estate. And in 24 hours, I was signed up for the classes. So once I decide I'm doing something, I do it. Um, Failure is not an option. Being a travel agent really wasn't that easy. And obviously, we all know real estate is a tough job, and people just don't realize that.
Yeah.
And sadly, I didn't know enough at the time I chose to go into real estate that it was going to be tough. Um, I made a quick decision, and I made that decision, and I announced my decision, and that was it.
It's one of those things where, like a travel agency, and I talk to agents and younger agents about this all the time. Like,
Uh-huh.
you know, people do not have to go out and buy and sell real estate, right?
That's
They don't
right.
have to buy something. They don't have to sell their home.
Right.
Probably the same thing in your former career as well, right? Like, people don't necessarily need to go on vacation, let alone use a travel agent to do so,
That's right. That's right.
to get it set up.
Yeah.